morning, DIYers. It is Monday morning. Time to get the week started. It was a fairly chill weekend. Nothing too crazy. Now it's a couple things I gotta handle this morning before I head into work. I'll handle those and then head into work and get the week started and hopefully get off on the right foot. Alright, I'm here. Let's get the day started. Day's done. Now it's time to go pick up the kiddos. And Brody's got soccer practice that I am coaching. And then we're going to go home, probably grab something on the way home. I really hate doing that, but I haven't gotten to grocery shop yet this week. So I guess that means I'm cooking nothing and picking up something. I got some new drills for tonight I'm pretty excited about. Just kind of trying to push these kids a little bit more. And they're still in first grade, so you can't push them too hard, and it's all about having fun. It really is, and I think these games will kind of be fun and change it up a little bit from last week. Other than that, got a really busy night tonight. I have a lot of things that I want to try and get done. A couple of friends have kind of asked me to create some brand artwork for their companies, so I'm going to take some time tonight to do that, as well as, editing videos, and I have a little bit of work I need to do tonight. Whoa, that's a big old bump. Practice is over. It's good practice. Boys are being boys. All good. Busy day. Didn't really get a chance to leave the office for work or even walk around. It was kind of at my desk or in meetings all day. So, got a little idea for tonight. Kids are getting their pajamas on and do homework. And then, then we'll start recording a little bit for the first time now at almost 8 o'clock. Today, I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I feel like Mondays are a good day to kind of do like a Q&A, like Monday Q&A Monday, something like that. I don't have a very big following on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube for that matter, so even if I were to say like, hey, send me your questions, I'd probably only get 2. Luckily, I did have a crash course probably over a year ago now, and that actually solicited quite a few personal questions, I guess. And then I have the help me section too on the website, which I'll link to below. And that's just if you want help with anything, whether it's a project or guidance for schools or for career path type stuff. If you ask, I'll give you my opinion. It may not be worth its weight in gold. I do have quite a bit of experience in development, so it might help. So I just compiled a list of 5 or 6 questions I think that people have asked me before, and via email mostly, some in comments on videos. Let's just get into it. What first got you into development is the first question. Well, that's it's a really long story. A really good friend of mine, Steve, came to me one day. We were playing poker at a friend's house, and he just kind of said, hey, I decided to start a website. And I was like, really? I didn't realize you did web stuff. And he's like, I don't. I used GoDaddy website tonight, and I was like, oh, cool. I'd never used that before. I'd heard of it, but I'd never really used it. And he showed it to me, and I was like, hey, man, that's a page. Anyway, he kind of said, yeah, I know it's not that great, and I would love some help if that interests you at all. Have you ever done anything like that? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I want to. So we went into business together, and we kind of like tried to build this business from the ground up and see, what we could come up with. I dove in using Flash. That was the first thing I really used. And it was fun, but I could see all of its limitations. So I quickly learned that I had to kind of move away from that if I wanted to be a developer, a real developer. I can still do some pretty good Flash stuff, so that has not totally left my system, and I still have to do it here and there. But that's kind of what got me into it. It was like, yeah, let's try this. Let's do it. We ended up closing down the business because he had other interests, I had other interests, and it just didn't work out. But I learned a ton because I had to learn a ton because neither of us really knew anything about development. and I learned it in a short amount of time, and I was proud of myself. And it was the first thing that I really stuck to outside of golf in my life. I started running with it from there and never looked back. The next question is, what is your favorite programming language to work in? That's an interesting question in that there's a lot of different ones. I started in Flash. I enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed programming in it. It was fun because it's animation. It's, you can kind of make it do whatever you want. There's no limitations. There's no browser limitations from a what can it do perspective. There are browser limitations of like what can it handle from a memory load and all that, but if you wanted something to move a certain way, you could just make it move, and the browser didn't really have anything to do with it. But then I moved into PHP, and I was like, man, this is badass. Like, you can save stuff to a database, and it's like awesome, and you can do all these crazy things on the server, not on the front end. The language is super accessible. I was like, yeah, this is it. And then I kind of got into HTML and CSS to replace Flash, and that was all well and good. And HTML and CSS is a tool in my mind. It wasn't until probably a few years ago I got introduced to JavaScript and the front end development career path. It was probably 4.5 years ago now. It was just like, it was pretty infinite at the time. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm a front end developer, but most of them were just people that knew how to do HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript. Now, there's a whole ecosystem that front-end developers can and really need to know to make it in the front-end development industry. I've gained a lot of respect for the Nodes and the Reacts and the Angulars and the Embers and all that. Like, I think that's where my favorite lies right now, is the front-end frameworks. But like, I really enjoy iOS development too, so it's a close second for sure. I just don't get to do that much of it anymore. Next question is, what was the worst job you ever had? That's a tough one. So I had a lot of like random one-off jobs that kind of sucked. Like, I would haul drywall or run cement back and forth that couldn't get back to the backyard. Literally all day long I'd take wheelbarrows full of cement back and forth from the front yard, from the street in the front yard to the backyard. And that was probably one of the worst days I've ever had on a job. But I think the job I hated the most, and I was really lucky to have the beginning part of the job at my age. I was 15. I got offered a job at a low end, maybe a higher end Walmart, but it was like kind of like a off-brand Walmart kind of. I got offered one summer to work lawn and garden, and I got paid $8 an hour. That was 18 years ago. $8 an hour. I thought I was rolling. That actually wasn't bad. I enjoyed the lawn and garden part. You were just loading soil and mulch and bricks for people in their cars. Then the lawn and garden closed. I got moved inside. That was by far the worst freaking job I've ever had. Just like having to straighten up shelves, take customer stuff back. Like, oh, I didn't want this, I'm gonna leave it at the cash register. Just cartfuls. Like every 2 hours you take a cart full of crap and just have to walk the aisles and figure out where it went. Man, that lasted about 3 months and I was over it. That was the worst job I've ever had. The next question is, did you go to college? Was it a technology type major? I did go to college. I took the non-traditional route. I went to college right out of high school, went for a semester, played a lot of golf, didn't do a lot of schoolwork, came home. It wasn't until I was 23 that I went back to college. I went to Webster University, and the only reason I went back was so I could play golf for Webster. That was the driving factor for getting good grades, for passing all my classes, and for graduating. I didn't major in anything technology-wise. I majored in media communications. And there was a little bit of strategy behind that. I had initially started as like a interactive digital media major, I think. And I was kind of heading down that path, but there was a bunch of courses that I decided not to take because I could graduate then or take another semester, and I was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to take my media communications major and run. At that time I had, I think it was like 7 or 8 customers across the country doing side work for them. I wasn't making a ton of money, but I was making enough to live on, and I was just like, I'm good, I just want to graduate. I wouldn't say don't go the technology route. If you're going to college and you're interested in development, try something like a computer science degree or something in that realm. It doesn't even have to necessarily be just that. It could be IT, it could be security, it could be a bunch of different things. But think about that, because I think the one thing that took me a while to develop that I probably would have learned in college pretty quick is programming theory. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on that now, and I'm still kind of learning some things, but overall I feel like had I taken that in college, I probably would have been able to grow a little faster. The next question is, would you go to college or a code school? This is a tough call because you get what you pay for to an extent. I paid a lot of money to go to the school I went to, which was Webster University, and I didn't, nothing against Webster, I just didn't feel like for what I do now, I paid a lot of money to learn not a whole lot. And I understand that a lot of majors are like that, but I felt like had I not had the experience, I don't think I could have even tried to apply for a job in my industry. The technology that they throw around in their job requirements, it's like if you didn't work with that, you would be like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I don't think code schools are a bad route if you go to the right one. But that being said, be careful. Make sure you really vet the institution you're going to go to, because some of them have all these bloated fake even numbers to like entice you, like, oh yeah, like 95% of our graduates get placed in a job. Honestly, they're probably lying. I mean, the industry is amazing for developers right now because we need so many. So if you're a developer, odds are you're gonna be able to find a job if you're a good developer. But they make it seem like it's easy, like, oh, you take this 3-week class, you're good to go. No, this 3 months class, you're good to go. No, like you're still looking at an entry-level job, which, to be honest, I think you can find just by doing free stuff on YouTube. Not just my channel, there's a bunch of other channels that do it. If you want to go to college, go to college. Get a computer science degree, learn that programming theory. If you don't want to go to college or in a situation where you need to just kind of get into a job, code schools can be okay. But what I would say is I will link a few below. There's a lot of really great resources that are not as big of a commitment as like a code, like academy kind of thing. So I'll post those below. Take a look. Make sure you know what you're getting into because they make it sound really badass. And I gotta be honest, it takes a lot of work. It's not a like, hey, 3 weeks, you're good to go, you can go walk into programming. It's not that easy. Nothing ever is, typically. I think that's it. I'm gonna call it on the Q&A. Thanks you guys for the questions from a year ago. Hopefully, as the channel grows a little bit, I'll be able to do some actual like Q&A from Twitter. But I still have a good, 20 or 25 questions of just random things people have asked me. So more to come in the following weeks. I think I'm done.